Meanwhile, new debt fears hanging over the market. U.S. debt, the budget deficit hitting a two-year high in June as, well, we just keep spending on more money than we take in. The Congressional Budget Office warning of a debt crisis ahead. But these warnings are nothing new. In fact, take a look at the RNC, what they focused on just 4 years ago.
Spending and government spending will be a big part of it. I want you to take your attention to these debt clocks that are here. There are two of them. There's the U.S. national debt clock, and there is the debt for the convention.
That debt clock was less than $16 trillion back then. Well, guess where it is now? Over $19 trillion. I know when we say these numbers, it doesn't sound like a lot. Remember, I'm using a T here, okay, a T, to the president for the committee, for a responsible federal budget, MacGuineas, on why there's still no fix. Maya, what is it? Just no political will to fix it? There's no game plan to fix it, or all of the above?
So I think when it comes to the federal debt, and it clearly is a problem and it affects the economy, the first thing is people do like to talk about it. They like to talk about it as a problem, and you get a lot of head nodding. But when you talk about what the solutions are, the truth is they're difficult. They're talking about actually spending cuts, entitlement reforms, and raising revenues. And politicians don't actually like to talk about any of those choices. And if they're willing to, Republicans and Democrats disagree very fundamentally about which ones they want to put in place. They aren't able to compromise and put in the big deals. So in the end, they end up burying their heads in the sand and ignoring the issue and kicking the can.
Well, Maya, because in the real world, what you just said were euphemisms for take away jobs in my town, raise my taxes, and take away the Social Security that I paid into for the last 40 years. I mean, so there's always going to be public outcry.
There's a reason people don't like these choices. What we've been doing for so many years is spending a lot more money at the federal government level than we've been willing to pay for. As a result, not only do we have large deficits, we've run up a debt that is at near record levels. It's the highest it's been since we came out of World War II, and the Congressional Budget Office has told us it's going to break those records in a couple of decades.
This is debt as it relates to GDP.
As a share of the economy, which is how you want to think about it. Not just those trillions, which are really hard to understand, but as a share of the economy, it's been growing. And what that means is it's slowing our economic growth. It's pushing down our wages. And it's putting in threat sort of what's going to happen when the next economic crisis comes along. But it's very difficult to make families understand how that affects them in their daily lives when we already have so many pressures on us. And so saying to everybody, we actually need to do more, we need to pay for the spending, and we need to pare back the spending. People understand it in principle, but their lives are challenged, and so nobody's saying, I really want to pay more taxes right now.
I mean, how do we get through this?
I think we're going to need political leadership. We are going to need politicians to explain to all of us why Social Security can't pay out more in benefits than we've paid in forever. The big baby boom generation is retiring. Why we can't pay less in taxes than we want in spending because it ends up mounting up these big deficits. And if we don't have political leadership on it, we won't see those changes. But in this campaign so far, nobody has a plan that would bring the debt down, and that's really troubling.
Maybe it just cannot be articulated in the right way. Maybe the baby boomers are too powerful a voting bloc. Whatever it is, I think, unfortunately, we may have to hit a brick wall. I'm glad that you're more optimistic.
Crisis. Well, I'm not saying I'm optimistic. I'm saying it's leadership, or as you're saying, crisis. I hope it's leadership. We really need political leadership to tell us why making some of these tough choices could help turn the economy around.
Maya MacGuineas, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.